right. I am so excited to be here. I'll tell you, welcome to 9 at Night. It's Wednesday night, and you know what that is? That means it's all about the talent. And we're talking from actors, movies, to singers, and everything in between, models, runway, you can name it. And so we have a packed, it's absolutely packed tonight on our show. I'm so excited for that. Now, 9atNight.com is the place you go to see what's going on every night. We are weekday nights from Monday to Friday night. It is at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's why it's called 9 at Night. And I'll tell you, it's about people that's really made a positive difference in this world. Those that were so passionate, they excelled with what their desires were, and they never gave up on their dreams. And that's why I absolutely love this. So go on the website anytime and see what topic is going on tonight. But tonight is going to be, it's all about the talent. We're so excited. So I'm going to go ahead and let's get going and introducing our guests. All right, and our first guest is Rick Trulson. I'm so excited to have him on. Rick is actually a studio producer. He owns his own studio. Not only that, he's a singer, songwriter, plays 12 different musical instruments. Started as a young boy. I see him on the accordion as a young boy, everything else, you name it. But Rick, thank you so much for being with us, and we appreciate you being here at 9 at Night.
Well, thanks, Christine. I really enjoy your show. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, I love it. And we have a lot of guests. In fact, our first guest we're going to talk about and introduce is someone that I met through you. So let's talk about Mayf Nutter.
Well, Mayf is, can you hear me all right, Christine?
I sure can. You sound great.
Mayf is an actor, a singer, a songwriter, kind of an all-around awesome, positive thinking guy, and an awesome, great storyteller. So I'm not going to tell any of his stories or even try to, but he's also my good friend.
Well, that is excellent. Yeah, that is excellent. So I have another little slide on with you. This is you doing all kinds of you're on the drums, you're in your own band. So let's talk a little bit about why music and why you are now helping so many with their beautiful recordings at Star Studio.
Well, of course, music is my passion, and I think it's a gift from God. And just to get up every morning and have that in your heart and be able to create, and then show other people how to do it and help them. If you know, sometimes you live vicariously through other people. The whole deal is to lift everybody up that you come in contact with, and you never know where it'll go.
Well, you absolutely got
so
that.
That's my thinking.
Excellent. Well, we sure appreciate it. So now we're going to go ahead and introduce our star of tonight, literally. And I'm going to say a little bit about him. You can see his pictures up here, and his name is Mayf Nutter. And so we're going to bring him on. And again, we have Alvin and Mayf. They're on audio, but I have lots of picture slides. We're going to listen to some of his songs. But he was the youngest honoree in the Nashville Country Music Hall of Fame Walk of Stars, Rockabilly Hall of Fame. We're going to go through all this. He has a life when it comes to a lifelong, when it comes to his love for music, and as well as with his acting. He's been in Gunsmoke, you name it, so many. And you know what? His bio is like 4 pages long when it comes to fabulous things that he's done. So we're going to go through it together. So I'm going to go ahead and bring him on, and welcome, Mayf. So glad that you're here.
Thank you. Appreciate the invitation.
Okay, well, let's get started. We have a lot of fun here. So we're starting and you're holding the plaque. You have quite a extraordinary reason why you're doing that. And I believe it has to do something with the Rockabilly Hall of Fame.
Okay, is Buck Owens in this picture too?
He sure is.
Okay, well, I grew up in the mountains of West Virginia, and my mom and dad played instruments together. There's a story in West Virginia used to go around that my dad married my mom because she had the best guitar in the county.
That's a musician for you.
Yeah, right. But anyway, I grew up in a family where I never saw a beer in the house or in the refrigerator, any of my cousins or aunts or uncles or anything like that. But they were fun people, good Christian folks, and this was before we had an HEB in West Virginia. So we made our own music, pretty much.
Oh, that is
like
excellent.
That. Yeah, and one time a friend of ours came back from Cleveland, Ohio, and he had an electric guitar.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you could hardly hear it when he wasn't plugged. Boy, he plugged that in, and it was, oh, man, I really like. And he's playing that boogie woogie do. And I just loved that. You know, I was let's see, 5. Yeah, I was 5 years old, and I was playing my ukulele. And my dad loved those chocolate covered cherries.
Oh,
remember you get it's Christmas time.
Yeah,
that was his favorite thing. Well, I'd get in that box and take out those little stiff cardboard coverings for him, and I cut it so it would fit like a pick in my hand, and I'd do songs like I'm walking, yes indeed, I'm walking, don't you mean I'm walking, you got back,
wow, that is so cool. We have one of your records that we want to play. It's called Talking to Myself. Can you tell us real quick about a little bit about this song?
Okay. I was working for a company that I had to travel around the country and to make sure everybody's doing the right thing. Anyway, I got to Durham, North Carolina, and fell in love with that town and a lot of folks and everything. And there was a band there that was advertising for a lead guitar player. So I went and played some guitar for them and became the leader of the group. It's called the Castaways.
Excellent. Well, here we go. We're going to listen to about a minute of it.
I'm just walking and talking. Yeah, I'm just walking to myself. Now people ask me why I'm walking and talking, just talking to myself. Well, there ain't nobody else. Think I'm going to the movies. Yeah, that sounds like it's groovy. I think I'll pop on down to the movie house now and catch a picture show. Now people ask me what's a movie. I'm going to the movie just to see a picture show. There ain't no place else to go.
I love it. That is great. What we're going to do, we're going to move on. I can't pay royalties. That's why we have to play just a little bit of it. But now I have all kinds of pictures with you playing your guitar in different varieties. How did you, you told a little bit about why you were in music, but how did you get where you were so well known and people had you with just about every major star possible?
I think it was the radio play of the records that I was releasing, and in West Virginia, when I was going to school, if you could get a job at Christmas time, and they used to call it Christmas vacation. Anybody old enough to remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you could get a job, they'd let you out of school 2 weeks earlier than the rest of the people for their Christmas vacation. Make a little money for your family, buy mom a present, you know, stuff like that. So I went over to the TV station that had just opened. They were having contests at every high school in the county. Nobody had TV sets, so they were having these talent contests. And I showed up for one, and the nice program director said, "Well, gee, I don't see you on the list here. Do you go to this school?" I said, "No, it didn't say anything about having to go to that school on the radio." He said, "Well, we're trying to get somebody to win from each of these schools, and that way their parents and all their friends will buy the TV sets and stuff like that." He said, "We can't judge you, but would you play?" Some of these people got the Asian flu. Some of these people can't even make it. Would you stay? I said, "Yeah, I'll do that."
Oh,
So
wow.
I took my the pick there made from the chocolate covered cherry box, and I did. If you knew Peggy Sue, then you know I like you, and I'm Peggy Sue.
All right.
Peggy Sue. You know, and I started doing all the slow songs that
Mhm.
Dad and Mom used to do. I would do them speed them up. You know.
Oh my gosh, so you were just right there. There's another song we want to play now. Now this one's interesting. It's called Going Skinny Dipping. You want to say something before that?
Yeah, let me do this very quickly. I actually believe that I'm blessed and highly favored because you can't do or predict that you'll get the opportunity to do some of the things that God does for you. Yeah, and oh my goodness, can't think of the guy's name yet. Anyways, big rock star. Come on, Mayf. Anyway, he said, write something about growing up in West Virginia, because most of my songs are not what people first write, about their dog and their wife and their grandma and all that kind of stuff. So I wrote this song as a family song, and you're gonna play a little bit of it, right?
Yeah, we're gonna do it right now.
Wait just a minute.
Okay.
Okay, got it. I got a call from a guy that does acting teaching down in Hollywood, and I knew some of his. My wife later we became married. Anyway, she was taking lessons there, and I went and sat in one time. Anyway, he got a call from a guy who was producing a television show, and he was. Get the thing that he went to CBS twice every year for 3 years, NBC, ABC, and everybody kept saying, "Well, it's not exactly what." Anyway, this guy said, "I'm going to try one more time, or I'm just going to, I guess it was a bad idea." So, the guy's name was Guy Waldron, and he asked my friend to ask me if he could use my "Going Skinny Dipping" song and the album cover.
Oh, wow.
This is 40 years ago, and the album cover, well, I should have sent one so you can hold it up there, because it's me just with the water from the Kern River out behind Merle Haggard's house, and the water was up to my waist, and there's a pretty girl with her back to the camera. But anyway, he came into, can you imagine walking into a CBS executive meeting with 6 guys all in suits there, and you start playing this song and holding the picture? I wanted to describe the picture for you so you'd think, yeah, it was like a brother and sister having fun splashing each other. So all the people in this song are real people from Two Lick Run, West Virginia.
Oh, okay. Excellent. Well, here we go. Excellent story.
Robert Lee and Scotty boys, come along quick. Emily and Lula better swimming in the creek. Stop that snickering, we're gonna get a licking. If Uncle Bernie catches us going skinny dipping. Going skinny dipping is a whole lot of fun on a hot summer evening on two-leg rum. Country boy don't give a dang about a licking when he running through the meadow, Lord, going skinny dipping. Everybody take off your clothes, jump in the water and hold your nose. Hey, standing in the hot sun, working all day, sweating and itching from my pitching that hay. Handful of pitchfork, a head full of wishing. Now we're down at the swimming hole, going skinny dipping. Going skinny dipping is a whole lot of fun on a hot summer evening on two-leg run. Country boy don't give a dang about a licking when he running through the middle, Lord, going skinny dipping. Ooh, daddy hopping and a pulling off his shoes. Here come Uncle Peanut wearing just an inner tube. Hey. Down.
You know, that is what we can do is I can only play about a minute of it, but I'll tell you, Mayf, you know, you are so talented. Those are really good songs. And just the stories behind them. Oh my gosh, they're just wonderfully crazy and a good thing. So you've been performing, gosh, for quite a while, but you've always been in the limelight.
Let me put the tail end on this little story.
Oh, okay.
You'll remember for the rest of your life.
Okay.
Now that we've been listening right to Going Skinny Dipping is a whole lot. And I told you, Guy Waltons, the guy who played it in front of all the executives there at CBS. And in those days, you couldn't walk into somebody's office and expect them to have a record player there.
Mm-hmm.
And this was a 33 RPM big old record. You know. Anyway, in those days, you had to make your own cassette and then take a cassette player in and play it for him. So he went to all that trouble and he said, gentlemen, you know, I'm just going to show you this, and I think, you know, I hope you see what I see. And so he started playing, and he's holding up the picture there on the desk. And when the song was over, he said the executives looked at each other, and no one shook their head yes or no or anything. And then the guy looked at me and he said, well, he opened up a drawer, pulled out a contract, and the Dukes of Hazzard was born.
Oh, I love it. Oh my gosh, that is so cool. I have a poster with you and Dukes and Hazzard here. Look at that. Can you believe that? That is so cool, Mayf. What a story. That is absolutely awesome.
Really, now that's why I say I'm blessed and highly favored, because when I was really back there on Two-Lake Run, that really was the creek that ran in front of the farm where I grew up.
I love that.
I couldn't have been pulling a pitchfork behind a haystack horse-drawn wagon and say, "Oh Lord, please, one of these days, would you let me write a song and have it, make a TV show out of it?"
Wow, and you did, and there's several. Now I have the picture now with you in Gunsmoke. How did you get in that?
Well, when we have another show together, I'll tell you about how I got to there. But I was in Atlanta after I'd done a tour with the Platters,
Mm-hmm.
and I was wondering what to do next with my career, and did some praying there while I was still in Atlanta, and all the other people got on the airplane and headed back for Hollywood. Anyway, I decided to stay there a couple of days, and I got this voice that said, "Go get your pictures taken. Just takes a bunch of headshots and in color here in Atlanta, and then get some 8x10s printed up, and then fly back to Hollywood and be an actor."
Wow.
That was it.
That was it.
That was it. I went to the Screen Actors Guild office and I asked for a list of all the agents, and I actually called them from my office, which was a payphone out in the driveway of this $50 a week motel where I was staying.
You know, I'm so proud of you. This is, I mean, never give up. My gosh. Dream
Right,
the dream.
I told everyone on that list, Christine, everyone. And I said the same thing. I come in the office. I said, anybody in here listen to new talent or new material? Because I'm a songwriter too. And they all said, yeah, let me see your film. When you're on it. And that's, if I didn't have a film, they weren't interested, and you can't get a film unless you have an agent. So I went through the whole list of that.
I'm so proud of you. We now have.
And then I didn't give up.
That's what it absolutely shows in here. Now I have the picture with you and Tammy Wynette. You want to tell that story?
Okay. I got hired to do a 6 weeks tour. They said it starts in Florida. You'll be working almost every day, all the way up to New Year's Day, which is going to be up in Pennsylvania. And I said, well, okay, bring a band. And I said, no, you can kind of share the bands because it's going to be you, George Jones, and Tammy Wynette.
Oh, wow.
And Jerry Lee Lewis.
Oh, my gosh.
Right. And what they did is they shuffled us, every 2 or 3 days, we'd be another combination. And so I traveled pretty much all the way with George and Tammy. And the way we traveled was they traveled, George and Tammy, just married, traveled in a beautiful new Cadillac.
Oh,
it was gorgeous. And the band and I rode in a station wagon, pulling a trailer that had all our instruments and the microphones and the amplifiers.
Well, you know where you sit.
Yeah, but anyway, I got to know all those people, and it turned into good friendships for the rest of the time. God bless you, George.
That is absolutely excellent. I have your picture now on the Walk of Fame. How did you feel when you had the star on the ground?
I thought that was that again. I didn't say, oh, I hope I get to look at that. That was the original location of the Country Music Hall of Fame in Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
And did they send you the name of the other people that were put in the same time?
No, I just got, I just have this one.
Okay, well, there's Glenn Campbell was one of the people who got theirs in there at the same time I did. And I was just really thrilled. They even spelled my name right.
I'm just so impressed by never giving up. Now I have your picture with your bow tie and when you were in Knots Landing. How did that happen?
I was actually doing an episode of Burner, She Wrote. And my agent called and said, hey, can you make a run over to MGM Studios and at your lunch or something? And they want to see you for this new character they're introducing, Knots Landing.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen Knots Landing yet. So I went back and I actually went over to where he said, walked in there, and they showed me the script and everything. The character was miles and miles away from what I was playing on Murder, She Wrote. And I said, would you mind if I have to get back to work now? I'm supposed to be there in 10 minutes. And we're filming over Universal Studios, which is not a 10-minute drive if you've ever been there.
Yeah.
So I said, can I come back and read for you when you're ready? I'm going to finish this in a couple of days. He said, oh, yeah. We're going to start next week. And so anyway, we did that. I came back and read the character that they created. And so anyway, I got the job.
That is just so cool how those happen. Now I have you with Jimmy Stewart on Hawkins and CBS TV.
Okay, that was the beginning of what they called movies of the week on TV, where they played it pretty much without even commercials,
Mm-hmm.
like a movie. And Jimmy Stewart they put together a new TV series for him based on a movie that he had done where he was a small town attorney, and somebody in his town was falsely accused of murder, and he'd never done a murder case or anything. But anyway, he went and saved the guy's life. So they kind of made that when he retired. The story goes,
Mm-hmm.
Hawkins is his name.
Uh-huh.
Billy Hawk. He retired, and he only comes out of retirement when he hears about somebody being falsely accused of murder.
There you go.
And then
Wow.
when he got out there doing it, he decided he needed a private detective, and they wanted somebody that the girls can, flirt with a little bit and stuff like that too. So I came in that day that I told you. I read the part there, and the director and the writer and the producer looked at each other, looked at me, and said, "Well, you have to go back to work on she writes. Anyway, Murder She Wrote." Said, "You have to go back. Are you finished?" I said, "Yeah, I'm finished with that." And they said, "Well, let's start you on Monday."
Oh my,
And,
look at that. Yeah, I mean, your prayers are answered. I mean,
yeah,
my
yeah.
gosh.
And I didn't even know what they had a guy in mind to do.
Well,
anything.
well, this next one, as slight as you and Dukes of Hazzard. So it's got you, AKA Dooley, on here.
Okay, well, you remember the story of going skinny dipping, and then all of a sudden there's a series called Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah.
And they had the two boys who were really the stars, and I didn't get to even audition for one of them because they did all the first episodes in Georgia,
Mm.
and I'm living in the Hollywood Hills this time. And so anyway, as a matter of fact, I was doing. Oh no! I almost jumped into a Walton story there.
So many, I get confused.
Yeah, but what it was is they named me Jeremiah Stalker to be Jimmy Stewart's nephew.
Oh,
And,
okay.
And I go into cases with him and all that kind of stuff. And we'd film the movies primarily over on the MGM lot, or if we need to go out to a ranch or something, we'd then leave the studio area. Anyway, we've been doing this for about a year, and I got this postcard from Lebanon, and it was a guy who was a private pilot.
Mm-hmm.
That I knew he was a friend of Marty Robinson's, and we kind of stayed friends. Anyway, I didn't know what he was doing now, but it was a postcard from him, and he said, "We and all of Jackie's folks went to see your movie last night with Jimmy Stewart, and Jackie thinks you stole the show from Jimmy Stewart." And I said, "Jackie?" He said, "Yeah, Jackie Onassis."
Oh my gosh. You're turning heads. You're just turning heads all over.
Yeah. So that was the first fan postcard I got from across the ocean. And it was,
I'm so proud of you. That's just amazing. Now we got the pilot, the first episode. You're the very first bad guy with Charlie's Angels.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. It was called The Hell Ride, and I played the character Eddie Durko, and we had a plan going where we were going to hide stolen goods in race cars that would cross the Mexican border, and then they'd empty them out of the pipes that protect the rider and everything.
Mm-hmm.
They had it all filled up, stolen with gold and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, so that was my thing. But my first morning, it was I had to be there at 6 o'clock in order to do makeup and wardrobe and all that kind of stuff. And I had my own trailer there, and this was at a racetrack location. So I was in my dressing room there, and there was a knock on the door, and I opened the door, and there was this pretty young lady there, blonde. She had her hair up in curlers, she had a house robe on and these little fuzzy shoes that looked like two rabbits on her toes there and everything. And she said, I had to tell you that Lee told me to come over and tell you hi. I said, okay, Lee, I'm thinking makeup guy, wardrobe. I said, Lee, which Lee? She said, my husband, Lee Majors.
Oh my gosh, Farrah Fawcett. Oh my gosh, how much fun. That is, I'm just so proud of you. Now we got you in another movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jeff Bridges.
Yeah, it was Arnold Schwarzenegger's first talking role.
Wow.
In any movie, and it was shot in Birmingham, Alabama. And the overall story, it was the beginning of when they were making shopping malls,
Mm-hmm.
you know, they clear out an area. And so the story was that Jeff Bridges and I and a couple of other guys were young men from families that had some money.
Mm-hmm.
And we had this little plan that this guy would buy this jewelry store, and another guy would buy something down there, you know, they get the shoe store, and they do it. Yeah, and so we were going to buy a couple of blocks and then start building this shopping center. That was the plot that the audience knew was going on, but there was lots of crazy and funny stuff in between there because, yeah, Arnold was working out to get into some kind of a muscle contest later, and he and I were next door roommates in the hotel deal there, and also it was a lot of fun with. Actually, they were all. Who was the other guy you had?
It was Jeff Bridges, and that's okay. You got a lot of people you spent time with.
Gotta tell you this Jeff story. Jeff and I arrived on the same airplane from Los Angeles into Birmingham, and got off the plane and going to the same hotels to stay and all that, and I said, I'm ready for some food. How about you? I'm starving, man. Let's go. So we threw our suitcases in the room and walked down. There was this beautiful, nice restaurant. And so we walked in, and there was a guy that met us there. So can I help you? And I said, yes, for two, please. Dinner for two. And he said, I'm sorry, you got to wear a tie. You got to have collars. You got to have collars on your shirt. And I said, well, I got a suit here. And he said, yeah, but he's got a T-shirt on. It doesn't even have it. I can't let you in there without a collar. And I said, okay, I don't want you to lose your job. And Jeff was looking at me like, you're not going to punch him or anything? So we walked out just enough for me to get around the corner from the door where it had a glass they could look through. So I walked around the corner, and then I said, just a minute, here, hold my coat. Jeff held my coat. I took off my shirt, and I tore the collar off my shirt.
Oh, no.
And I stuck it down in the front of the T-shirt that he was wearing. And anyway, that's and then we walked back up there and said, all we need is a collar, right? And I said, okay, dinner for two, please. And he said, okay, come on.
Those are awesome stories. Oh my gosh. Now we are at the end here. We have two songs left, and there's one we're going to play the whole song, but this next one, and I could go forever listening to your stories, and darn, we just have just a little bit of time, but let's talk about this song called Bingo.
Okay. I mentioned the guy who was an acting teacher in Hollywood that Lindsay was studying with, because Lindsay started in Hollywood as one of the pretty girls on the Dean Martin show.
I met your wife, Lindsay.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
And she did the dancing and all the funny stuff. Do you remember the show?
Yes, I do. I definitely do.
You remember sometimes there'd be a blank screen and you hear the music, and then here came a couch down with with Dean Martin on it and singing the song. Remember that?
Yeah, I sure do.
Okay, one of the two girls that was on the couch with him was Lindsay Bloom.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. So okay, you want to know about the
Bingo.
famous,
Yeah.
Alan Landers met me because I would go to Lindsay's class sometime and pick her up because I was doing personal appearances on the weekend. Like we couldn't date then, so she was Tuesday night going there. So I went over there, and Alan had just come back from Florida, and he told me this story about going with his mother. She played bingo every Thursday night or something, you know, and he said, "Oh, I'll come all the way across the country and you're gonna go." And so I just took some of the stuff that he told me and made up a whole bunch more. I hope it's funny.
Yeah, let's go ahead and play it. Just about a minute. The next song will play the whole thing, but this one we'll just do about a minute.
Well, I went back home to visit the folks, and I thought for sure it was one of Mom's jokes when she said, "Can't waste no time talking to you, boy, there's church tonight." I said, "Mom, it's me, your only son." She said, "I can't help that, I gotta run. St. Joseph's bingo starts in a half hour." Why, she didn't even close the screen door. I said, "Mom, I don't know if you know or what, or if you care or plumb forgot, but I've just traveled 3,000 miles, come see you." She said, "I know it." She said, "Save your breath, I gotta go. You don't just have to sit around here, though. Grab your shoes, boy, and come on, jump in the pickup." And I did, and I don't know why. It was quiet down there in the basement of the church. I only brought one sock, but what was worse, I was the youngest kid there, and heck, I'm 33. They called the first number, and I was just sitting there, and next thing I knew, I was up in the air, and I came back down in a storm of ping pong balls. I didn't know they was going to holler. They went,
M33, 066, M44,
"Ain't that something?"
B11, G55, I22.
Darndest thing I ever seen. When they called these certain numbers out, they'd all make some noise or whistle or shout. I didn't spot no spirit. I know it'd be sitting. They gave 068 a real funny name, and I said, "Mom, you know this here's a hell of a game." She said, "Don't talk like that in the Lord's house, son. Shut up and gamble."
It's just too funny. Oh my gosh, that's just too funny. You are just so absolutely good at what you do. I just love it, and we're having a wonderful time. This is our last song, and we're going to play the whole thing of the Ballad of Valdez. And so why don't you share a little bit how this really helped raise some really good money for the nonprofit that you were helping. And I'll turn it. Yeah.
Okay, well, this was back on March 24th, 1989. And I was riding in an airplane up to Anchorage, Alaska to do a show up there. And heard the pilot say, "Okay, if you look out the window, you can see the Exxon Valdez oil spill out there. And, you know, it's covering a lot of territory." And it was 45 minutes of airspeed travel getting up to Alaska, and it was oil all the way under the plane as we were going there. And I was really concerned about the animals because, you know, I grew up around them in West Virginia, but I was also the narrator for The Wonderful World of Disney. You know, sometimes it wasn't a cartoon, it was a couple of animals that became friends that didn't usually, or something like that. So anyway, I loved the animals. And so I went up, and this was one of those $200 a plate fundraiser deals, and the guys had tuxedos, and the women were really dressed nice. Anyway, I played, you know, some of my songs that they've been playing on the radio up there, and it's great. They were really glad to see me. And so I said, okay, now, we've all heard Allsing's song. I've heard them many more times than you did, but let's do a song that nobody else has heard before. Somebody give me a noun. And somebody said, dead fish. Thinking, well, that's, I don't know. Okay, something else is drunk sea captain. Yeah, and everybody started yelling up stuff like that. And so I tried to grab those notes, those hints, and make this song. I had no idea how the song was going to go, or if it was going to be a real sad song or what. But at the end of the song, one of the disc jockeys from that radio station, one of the sponsors of the event, came up and said, "Hey, mate, we didn't get that record. Can you get?" I said, "Well, I just wrote the song. I'm sure there's another record out." He said, "Oh, you got to record that, man. You got to record it." And I said, "I'll never remember it unless somebody recorded it on a cassette or something out there." And a lady came over, well-dressed lady in her late 40s probably, and she said, "You said it'll only cost $1 billion to clean up all that oil." I said, okay, so I wrote that down. Anyway, so I wrote down most of these lines right there from other people telling me about it.
That is so cool. It's called a teamwork. I heard that earlier today with your wife and you. So I love this. So let's go ahead and play this. And then right after we're done playing this, I have a slide that's going to show you how you can get any of these songs you've heard on internet. And so we'll go with that. But right now, this is the Ballad of the Valdez.
One, two, three, four. All those pictures in the paper, and the film is on TV. The worst man-made disaster you could ever hope to see. The slickest wildlife murder, and still the mystery heightens. How do you get a captain's job without a driver's license? It's easy. It'll only take $1 billion to clean up all that oil. It may be cold in Valdez, but it's making my blood boil. They say the captain got so drunk he couldn't walk or waddle. He spilled 10 million barrels from a 1-quart whiskey bottle. I did. So now the guy gets wealthy from his movie and his book called I Got 80 Million Fish Without a Net or Hook. He'll be a self-made millionaire before the story's over. A just reward for being drunk, so why the hell be sober? It'll only take $1 billion to clean up all that oil. Well, it may be cold in Valdez, but it's making my blood boil. They say the captain got so drunk he couldn't walk or waddle. He spilled 10 million barrels from a 1-quart whiskey bottle. First mate, second mate, third mate, cook, who wants to drive the boat? Let's knock a big hole in her boards and see if she'll still float. Next week, Geraldo's special guest is Mr. Mate Third Class. I'll bet you that's what happens, folks, or I'll kiss the captain's beard. But I know how to fix it, folks, before the ocean dies. Fill a tanker full of preparation H and shrink it down to size. Then it won't cost no $1 billion to clean up all that oil. It'll still be cold in Valdez, but at least my blood won't boil. The world's worst human litter bug, the man we love to throttle. He spilled 10 million barrels from a 1-quart whiskey bottle. It's the Ballad of Valdez. Gasoline, $3 a gallon.
You know, that is clever. That's absolutely clever. And something else is that the money to that went to the fish and wildlife up there. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. Um, um, I made a promise that I wasn't going to make any money on this. I wanted to restore some fish and wildlife.
Mhm.
So I got a couple of guys together, and we started an independent record label, because in those days, once you came out of the studio, you had to take your tapes in, and they had to press up all these records, and they had to send them out to all these radio stations, and then get them in stores, and then all this kind of stuff. So it was really a kind of a rush thing. But I called up there sometime later. Somebody told me they were getting lots of money from the disc jockeys. Were telling me that they mentioned so that people could give donations, and they gave the address of the Fish and Game Department, which I had looked up and sent with it all my records to the radio stations. Anyway, I called up there to see how it was going, and the Fish and Game Department, and the guy said, "Are you the one that's doing all this stuff? That they're sending all these checks?" And he said, "We actually got yesterday 2 bushel baskets full of envelopes with checks and cash in them and everything." I said, "Oh, good." He said, "Good. I can't take that money. That's private money. I can only take your government fees here. That's now I got to pay." I hope there's addresses on all these envelopes, because we're going to have to send all these things back, and it's really been a pain in the rear. And anyway, I said, "Can you give me 24 hours on this thing?" He said, "Well, we won't have them all sent back by then." But so we hung up, and I called a bunch of people in the government situation, and I actually had a guy go down through all the requirements and the restrictions for the Fish and Game Commission, and it said in there that they could not take donations from private people unless there was an emergency with the animals.
Well, hello.
Yeah. So I called the guy back and said, "Okay, look on there, page 136 down to regular." He says, "Oh my goodness gracious!" And I said, "How many envelopes have you sent back?" And he said, "Oh, we sent thousands a day before this, because." And he said, "That's true." Anyway, I got a call from him 2 or 3 days later, and he said, "We saved $4 million."
Wow. Congratulations, Mayf. One person can make a difference. That's one thing I want to do. Right now, we're showing the slide how you can get a hold of. Just Google anything with Mayf Nutter, from iTunes to YouTube to Amazon MP3s to Netflix. You can learn about his movies on the IMBD. His website is mayfnutter.com, and you'll see these same links. You can just link to it. So here's a man that has made a powerful difference with his talent, wishing one time when he was a little guy to, I want to write a song for movies, and you name it. He's had the pathway right in front of him. And tell everybody what was it for anybody out there that has a dream and doesn't, is just at the beginning level. If you can just say in a couple sentences, some kind of coaching, let's go for it.
Yeah, well, I didn't make it clear, I guess. What was it? They'd already. No, never mind. That's okay. I'll have to point to the Bible. I know what it was. I never prayed for those things. That's why I say blessed and highly favored. So I didn't make it clear. I said when I was 4 or 5 years old, how could I have been down there bringing a pitchfork behind a horse-drawn hay wagon? I was just picturing that little kid there, and I said at that time I could have said, "Boy, I hope there's a big old oil spill so I can learn something." I didn't think that at all. but the way you hear the music, I have, it's kind of energetic and novelty, perhaps a little of that in there. And so that was the uniqueness, I guess.
Yeah, that is so amazing. Well, we sure appreciate you being here with us. We'll have you back down the road, but thanks so much, Mayf Nutter, for being with us, and keep it going. That's awesome.
I don't say goodbye to my friends anymore. I say, stay happy.
There you go. And with that note, we will. Thank you. It's absolutely incredible what someone can make a difference with when it comes to, are you kidding? All about the talent when it comes to having a desire, having a vision, and then just going for it. He said, I never stopped. I had to call every agent. And so what's really exciting is that we have a wonderful agent I'm going to bring on. And, it's so exciting because it's not about, it's about your passion, your drive, your go to get him. And that is what makes it all happen here when it comes to our show and with these guests that we have on. How incredible is that? So right now I'm excited to bring on our next guest. And this lady is just another go-getter. We sure appreciate her. And so with that, we have Karla Johnson. And Karla Johnson is a talent agency, and so she's been very successful in getting many people in the movies and in many people in the runways, like I mentioned before. And we have one of her clients that's with us tonight, so we're so excited. But I just want to say thanks so much, Karla. Just welcome. Are you there, Karla? Okay, I'm gonna put this up again. Karla, can you unmute yourself?
Lots of stuff. So, yeah. Do I need to? Yeah. Do I have to video? There I am.
Yeah, there you are. Yay,
So
Karla.
okay. Thank you. Yeah.
I was getting worried a little
gosh,
bit.
Okay. I'm going to try to do something with this. Oh, this lighting. I've got to figure out either how to. Yeah.
We're
I'll
gonna
get
get
it
it
done.
figured out. It's just good to have you here. Wasn't that an awesome experience we were able to share with Mayf?
Yes, that was pretty great. It's
Well,
good to hear how people get their stories, how they get started. It just sounds like most people have that little perseverance. They just keep going no matter what. They don't take no, they just keep going to the next thing. So yeah, that was really nice.
I like calling you a dream maker because you've helped many people with their dreams. So let's talk about your talent agency, and I'll hear, and then we'll talk about one of your clients that you have on with us. We're going to meet. Excited to meet.
Well, Tim started with my agency when he was a teenager, and he went to a convention with me, and came back, went to school. He did a few little things in Montana, came back, went to school, I believe in Dixon. Well, he can tell you. And then he went, finished college and then went to New York. Mm-hmm. And he ended up getting in a movie, very well-known movie called The Frontier Boys. Oh, and wow. I think they were working on a couple more sequels, but it didn't ever transpire because the people grew up in between the fundraising. I think that was what the story was, but Tim can enlighten me more about that. And then he went to New York and kind of has his own podcast. He did a lot of things. So now he's kind of producer and director. He's working on a project here in Montana right now, which I think it's going to go somewhere big. It's about barbecue. So, but I'll just like to introduce Tim and he can tell you what we're cooking up here in Montana.
Well, real quick, and thank you so much, Karla. We have Creative World. This is Karla's information. It's Karla Johnson with Creative World Model and Talent Agency, and her website is creativeworldinc.com. So with that, we're excited to introduce Timothy Lofing, and we're just going to turn it over to you. Tim, we're so glad you're here with us. Welcome.
Hey, thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
Yes, well, you are definitely a success story. So let's talk about how you met Carla and how you your trip to New York and how that turned out to be so productive.
Okay. So I believe I was around 16 when my brother, of all things, how people get into the industry, as a young child, I always loved acting and I was in school plays and always loved that aspect of life, but I had never really pushed the envelope. And so my brother said, "Hey, I just want you to know I called in. There's a search going on in Billings, Montana, and I want you to go." And I was petrified at that point. I said, I don't know what to expect. He said, "Listen, we're going to enter into these qualities. You can sing and you can dance and you can model and you can act. We're just going to go for it." So I went down and I did the search, and that's where I first met Carla. And I was selected to go to AMTC, and that was our first experiences. So we did a lot of training classes. Carla was amazing at setting up headshots with James Pintati. Yeah, I haven't seen James in years, but he was wonderful to get us ready for the modeling aspect, as well as Lynette Michaels. And she trained us in, just professionalism, everything across the board, what it takes to be a model. And we also had acting classes, and she had us properly prepped. And so we went down to Florida, we competed, I had some callbacks from 20th Century Fox. And then that kind of led to more opportunities. And stop me at any time if you want. I can just kind of go through the whole spiel,
Oh,
I
no,
guess, and
no,
condense
this
it
is
down.
good. This is all about you.
Okay. So yeah, after that happened, there was some interest in New York for modeling. And at that time, I really wanted to go, but my parents were smart enough, and I thank them for this, to say, "You're too young. You need to finish high school, and you need to have those ground roots to take you on, further on in life." And so I went ahead and finished high school. But at that time, I decided where to go to college, and I went to the University of Mary in Bismarck, North Dakota. You were close, Carla. Very close.
Oh, sorry.
I
I knew it was that way. I knew it was east of us.
We always joke about North Dakota. All the towns are the same, but North Dakota was an amazing experience. I worked with some really incredible directors. Bev Hushka and Nita Ritsky really got me fine-tuned into acting and really started making me think about acting in ways that I never had. And yeah, so went to college there. And at that time, right before, I guess, backtrack, when I went to college, someone had told me that, there's some interest again. Do you still want to come to New York? And Carla, actually, one of Carla's clients was modeling for Fifth Avenue Models, which was a branch of Ford. At that time, Ford Models had branched out into 5 different development companies, and Fifth Avenue was one of them. And I said, I am interested. So maybe Carla could make that introduction. And she did. She's always there for her talent. She's amazing. Set that up. And I went to New York City and started modeling. And I went there during the summers between my collegiate career. And just worked my way up through college. I was very blessed and had amazing directors. And I landed a lead my freshman year. And then from there, I was able to develop those skills again with Nita Ritsky and Bev Hushka. And had an amazing experience at the University of Mary in Bismarck, North Dakota. And then after I graduated, I came home just briefly for a summer to spend time. And I give a lot of credit, if we're being 100% honest. My mother said, "This is the time you have to go." She said, "If you get too comfortable in Montana, you're not going to go back to New York. You've been there every summer. Son, this is the time." And I was very blessed to have parents that have been supporting through this process. It's one of those really important things that when your family is behind you, as we all know how tough the entertainment industry can be. And so I went to New York City and I moved out there, and I had a choice. Like most actors, when they land, they say, "Do we want to be a bartender or do you want to be a something else?" And I said, the summers that I was there in New York, I was a bartender. And I said, "It's just the nightlife and it's exhausting. I need something that's more productive." And so at that point, I decided I want to become a personal trainer, as that's possible. And a really good friend of mine said, "We can put you through classes, train you as a personal trainer." And I said, "You know what? That sounds great, because I need to be in the gym for modeling and acting as it is. And I need to be, keeping all of this in shape as much as possible." And so I became a personal trainer. And then I started my acting career studying, and I studied at Esper Studios And what an incredible experience studying method acting. And that's where I studied the Meisner method. And then also I should, give a huge thanks to Joan C. At the time, it was the School for Film and Television. It's now the New York Conservatory for Dramatic Arts. And I studied there one summer. And when I was graduating college, Joan said, well, you need an internship. And I said, yes, I do. And so she offered that and was able to, get me back to New York even quicker. And from that point, once I moved there full time, within the first year is when I got the call for Frontier Boys.
Oh my
And
gosh.
that was, it was really incredible. It was actually, one thing I'd always stress to any actors is you're only as strong as your connections. So be respectful, be kind, be humble, because you never know, those people that you meet along the way are going to be the ones that will help you. And someone that I knew from my collegiate career, bless her heart, Asher Noel, had went on and to become working with a casting director and was working with someone called John Gruters at the time with Gruters Productions, phenomenal people based out of Michigan. And she said, listen, I have a feature film. And she broke it down straight. She said, there's no guarantee. She said, we're interviewing people from Disney all across the board, but would you like to audition for this role? And so I said, of course, it's a lead role in an independent feature film. I'm game. And so they sent the script and I put in a lot of work prepping for that audition. And, I was very blessed to get the role. And that's what projected me into the Frontier Boys. And so that, it just kind of all skyrocketed. I know I'll make sure and sum it up quickly, but it went from Frontier Boys. That led to working with someone that I know named Jimmy Martin, who is developing a series at the time for Comedy Central. And that was a series called Dead on Acting, which is a phenomenal premise of actors who actually play dead for a living, which, believe me, it is a real thing. There are cadavers out there. So it's
I was
something.
in one.
Oh, you're in one?
Well,
Hey,
not
let's
that
go
one,
play
but I
dead.
went here in Montana. Yeah.
Very
Yes,
good.
and it's a real thing. So once that led to that working with Jimmy, at one point he said, are you interested in helping directing? And it was a web series at the time. And I said, yes, I would be interested. And so that led into, at that point I was around in my mid-20s. My acting career was like, at 25, if you're not really breaking it into that upper echelon, you're considered, too old for acting. And at that point I said, you know what, why not? And so I directed an episode and I caught the bug. I said, I really like being able to work with actors. And so from there, that led to, just continuing to work with other projects and directors and producers. I wanted to learn more beyond the camera. So I started just like everyone else as a production assistant, and I worked my way up through the rank. And now, we have an independent production company in New York City, and we've been able to work with phenomenal clients. And, that's kind of it. I've enjoyed amazing time as an actor in commercials, working with JCPenney. Had an amazing experience with Edie Falco on Tommy on CBS, but just extremely blessed to have great people, surrounding you and lifting you up. Sorry that was so long, my dear.
Oh, no, this is fabulous. I had a question with this. You heard Mayf mutter. What did you think about his life and his experiences?
Oh, it's so incredible, because the industry changes so quickly now, especially with social media and streaming platforms. And to hear his experiences at that time period was incredible for me. And he's so talented. When I heard his voice, the producer in me goes, oh man, for voiceover, what a killer voice. And no wonder he worked for Disney. Really incredible actor. And as far as his experiences, those are those amazing times when film was different than what the market is now.
Also with somebody brand new, just like I asked him at the end, what kind of advice would you give for anybody that's got the idea, that has some talent, but that is learnable? Let's hear it.
Yeah. So on the talent aspect for actors, I would just say, just be open and really love your craft. It is something that you really have to love to do. And that's something that, a throwback to Karla when we were in the agency. She had someone come in, and I believe it was Tanya. Karla, do you remember the last name of Tanya that was working
Tanya
with?
Calfo.
Okay.
Tanya Calfo.
Tanya Calfo. So
Teak,
Caulfield
we
is
call her Teak. Calfo.
Teak.
Tanya
Okay.
Calfo.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you were one of her favorite favorite students, by the way.
Oh, I wouldn't imagine that. She was so strict, but I needed it back then.
Yeah.
I would never assume. But
Yeah,
yeah, she
she
was
told me
wonderful.
that.
And something that she said that was so incredible. She said, "You better love this career because it's long and it's hard." You know, at a time when you're just getting into it, you go, "Wow, that was really harsh." You know, but I think that people need to understand that it is a career that you really do have to love. And it's something that, you know, don't be disheartened by the auditions you don't get, learn from them, and just stay active, constantly work on your craft. You know, it's called show business for a reason, is that it's a business. And understand the second thing I would say, to be concrete, is that just know your character type and your roles. And if you want to expand into other things, really work at that. But know what's right in front of you, that you can get experience to be on set. Just know that. And the last point I would say, Christine, if I could make one, is, you know, I would recommend for any actors, go be a production assistant. And I know that sounds crazy, but go work on set. I mean, they're constantly looking for production assistants in New York City, and you can go on set and, you know, yes, the pay is not going to be phenomenal, but what you're going to learn by working behind the camera will not only give you so much confidence in the audition room, as well as in, you know, in any project that you do, but it's going to help your network. You're going to need people, you're going to meet people that need actors, so on and so forth. So that would be my little tiny third piece.
Oh, I love it. This is fabulous. Now, do you have, I mean, are you in the process with your production company? Do you have a website or anything that I can show with this?
We do, yes. Yeah, so we've got TGT Productions. So you can take a look at that online.
Okay,
And
so if I
we're
do
also,
it, what's the website on that?
it's TGT Productions.
Productions.com.
Yes.
Okay, let's get that up and let's just show this. Let's get some, you can kind of talk us through it. So I'm waiting for it to come up. Do you have any other websites?
We do. And actually, that's one thing now that I'm back in Montana, we're working with MontanaOutlawProductions.com. And so I'm working with 2 different production companies at the point, and we're very excited. We can talk briefly about it. We just, we're developing a pilot called Barbecue Heroes, and where we work with local charities and we come into local communities, and 2 charities will select someone to compete in a barbecue competition show. And then all of the winners come back at the end of the season for a chance to win $25,000 for their charity.
Okay, so here we go. And so talk us through this. This is Montana Productions. So where can I go with this?
So if you want to, you can take a look at, you know, the About Us page, or you can see these are some of the videos that we're developing right now. They've been really great at developing their YouTube channel. And so they've been very successful.
Can I play one of these videos?
Yes, if you click on that, it should take you right to those links.
Okay, let me just click right over here. Is it clicking for me? Just a minute, maybe my clicker's not clicking. So, okay, so we'll catch something.
It appears to be going.
Okay, so anyway, so we have this, and then you have About Us. So this is just go to the website. It's MontanaOutlawProductions.com. So beautiful. So there's your team. Executive producer, Tyrell Hamilton. Looks like you have oh, there you are. Okay.
There I am.
Yeah, so it's the Montana Outlaw Barbecue. .com. Okay, so that's basically, if anybody wants to find Tim, do you go by Tim or Timothy? Because I've been calling you Tim.
It's okay. Timothy is just a professional name, but Tim's just fine.
Okay, excellent. So it just shows a little bit more about you. That is so exciting. And then I wanted to get this other one. This is your New York one.
That looks, I don't believe so. I think it should be tgtproductions.org is where you'll see us.
Try that. So let's just try this here. I'm just trying to find you here. Is
you
this
got
it?
There it is.
Oh, perfect. I'm so glad we found it. Okay. And tell us a little bit about this again, while we have it up.
Yeah, so this is just the videos that we've worked with. That's the video you see there that you scroll by was one of our first clients ever, which is very exciting, Vegan Vacations. And that just talks about, you know, when you're working on a shoestring budget, I would give anyone the recommendation when you're first starting off, it's going to take some time. So that video, we were very lucky to have 5 different premier restaurants give us a shooting location for free. And we
Wow.
were able to talk with them about, you know, exciting their missions and just working through the process. These particular videos, some of these like Push the T that you'll see there, that's also working with my business partner, Terrell Vincent. And if you go to our bios page, you can see Terrell. Terrell is one of my best friends in life. And, you know, again, talking about connections are everything in this industry. Terrell, I met on the set of Dead on Acting. He was the director of photography. And on episode 1, we both came out and we're like, man, this is, you know, what a long day. How are you doing? We met, we became instant friends. And so 12 years later, you know, now we're in business together, and Terrell is an incredibly successful
Okay, so here's
director
your
of photography.
Okay, there's
Yep.
Terrell. Okay, very good. I couldn't find the button. You just scrolled down. So
Yes, there's
excellent.
Terrell.
And that
And
is-
Terrell is, again, just, you know, meeting, it's like, you know, you hear about all these stories of the greats, of how they assembled their teams and who they met and how that whole process happened. It's just stay open, and you never know the relationships you'll develop. Terrell is such a talented individual. He just got done shooting another reality TV show. He's been the director of photography with Moonshiners and so on and so forth. Just a really, really incredible human being. And even if you see Light Warriors there, I was actually working as an assistant director on a commercial, and that particular company was led to one of the first pilots that we're now pitching to Netflix. And he developed through Light Warrior Rentals during COVID, and again, just talking communications and people you meet, someone that I worked with on set said, hey, we're going out of business. Would you like to buy some cameras? So we got together and we put together our first major production package. And that's where Light Warrior Rentals happened. So you never know. I would just say, you know, just keep open, and you're only as strong as your connections.
Well, I am so absolutely impressed with you. You know, isn't it amazing how it just takes just an idea, a desire, passion, and everything, and you're in. You know, like you said, it may be a slow start, but you're in. You know, because you don't give up. So thank you so much, Timothy, professionally Timothy. We sure appreciate you being on 9atnight.com. I'm gonna have to move on. We ran a little bit longer, but it was so worth it tonight. So I just want to say thank you again, everybody. I sure appreciate you.
My pleasure.
you,
Thanks so
Christine.
much.
Appreciate
Definitely
it.
have you back. Definitely. So with that, I'll tell you, there is so much when it comes to people making a positive difference. And you've seen that, definitely seen that tonight. You cannot get it any better than what you've seen tonight. And so I'm so excited about that. So what we're going to do is I just want to let you know that 9 at Night is every night, weekday night, Monday through Friday, and it has a topic every night. It's all about the business. It's all about the drive. Tonight, it's all about the talent. You definitely have to come back next week. We have more surprises for talent for next week. It's all about the money. It's Thursday night. It's all about the fun. So with that, the website to go to is 9atnight.com, and you just scroll down, click on Zoom. If it's 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can count back where your time frame is. Zoom, and you'll be with us live. So that's pretty exciting. So I want to say just thanks so much for being here tonight. We have a short commercial here, and then we're gonna end this. And I'll tell you, you can't get it better than this. just say real quick is that it's, you know, that book commercial is because it's my show. I have my book on there. Okay. But this book is Newbie 101, and I can't say enough. It is based on business, of home-based business, but this book is excellent for self-development. 80% of this is. I've had a lot of years. My main format is marketing, but I was a single mom for 15 years, no financial help around and no family around. So we had learned a lot of positive ways to have positive affirmations, set goals and dreams, and make things happen with just a little bit that we had. And so I put it all in a book. You can get this. It's Newbie 101. And all you do is go to christinecampbell.world and you can pick that up and you'll find a place to order it. I want to say thanks so much for being on this show. It is so amazing to have incredible talent that we have. And so with that, have an incredible week. We'll see you next week. And tune in for tomorrow night. And it's all about the money. But tonight, we're definitely going to be working with making a positive difference in our dreams, right? Let's start.